Hey everybody, I'm Glenn.
And I'm Xander.
And together we are Fun King 3D, and today we are going to move on to the next installment of the E12 series, which is, I guess the initial tuning is what you would call it. So stick with us. Alright, so if you haven't watched the unboxing, you can. It's not really critical. If you haven't watched the assembly, you probably should. The unit did assemble fairly easy. Would you agree with that? I mean, other than all the tweaking and stuff. Once we figured out that to move the Z-axis up, then the bars bolted in good. But otherwise, it was fairly pre-assembled, I guess would be the way to put it. But as a warning, they don't necessarily put it together great. So the first thing, once it's assembled, the first thing that I would recommend that you do is go around and just double check to make sure. In fact, that one there was actually pretty loose. I got a good turn on that. So you want to make sure that everything that was pre-assembled was pre-assembled properly. So
I'll check this side.
Check that side.
Mm-hmm.
You just don't want stuff moving. These screws were definitely loose on the wire smooth rods. They must have put it together with that crappy screwdriver that it comes with.
Okay.
Alright, everything's good on that side?
Yep.
Also make sure to check all of the grub screws on the pulleys for the belts. Those are notoriously left loose, and you will eventually find a grub screw laying on your workbench or on your build plate, depending on where it came from. Alright, so once you're sure everything is tight that was factory assembled, and not to say that it won't still work loose through the use of the printer, which is a maintenance thing, and you definitely should check it once in a while, but something else that we noticed on this unit is that the belt is pretty horribly loose. So we're going to go ahead and tighten that up. Let me see if I can swing this. This is a big guy, and it takes up a lot of room.
Oh, hi, machine.
Now you get the control box. We'll take us over to this detail camera. Oh, look, there's Xander. Oh, stick it off the bed. All right, so we're going to be working right here. They can still see up in the corner.
I know.
All right, so I got to put on my Superman specs. So we have a pulley here that belt runs around. Is that in focus? It is not.
It is not.
Why don't we adjust that focus just a little bit? That's better. All right, so you have two screws right here that are definitely going into hammer nuts on the inside, and you have a very loose belt.
Very, very loose.
That is going to be a 2.5 millimeter. Oh, I'm not even sure that those are in the T-nuts.
It's a trap.
We may have to take this whole assembly apart.
No.
Oh, it's in the T-nut. It's just not grabbed.
Oh, you made it even worse.
Yeah, of course. You gotta loosen it up. You see the T-nuts? You guys see the T-nuts? All right, so all I'm doing is I'm grabbing and I'm pulling away, but I kind of have my finger in behind the nut on the back of this screw right here so that I can wedge it out. And you want to make sure that you give this thing, give it the wiggle, the shake, the vibration, whatever, to get that T-nut to turn and lock in. And it does not feel like it is. In fact, it feels like it's rotating completely inside that extrusion. We have an issue.
Houston, we have a problem.
China, we have a problem.
China, what?
Well, they're the ones that assembled it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to take this whole bracket off for just a moment.
It died.
What, the printer?
Yeah, died.
Well, it just seems that this T-nut is not... Well, all right, seems all right. I don't know what was going on, but it seems all right now. So we're gonna get that belt back on there. We're gonna put some tension on that belt.
Beep.
You know what it is? I bet that screw is stripped out.
I thought you chipped every one.
Well, no, I didn't monkey with this intentionally because I knew that we were going to have to retension the belt.
Oh.
So I'm going to knock that off.
Okay.
I'm going to pull this screw out of here and see if it is the hammer nut. I have more. Man, that one tightens down okay. This one doesn't seem to tighten down very well. And then looking at this too, we have a lock nut. I know the focus isn't real great on that, but we have a lock nut that isn't even threaded all the way to the nylon. Like the screw is so short, it's not even actually to the lock mechanism of the nut. That's not a good thing either. Yeah, look, I can screw that thing all the way in and just keep on keeping on. So I don't know if that is the T-nut or if that's the screw. All right, so I got a different T-nut, and if I can get that screw out of there. All right, we'll set that one off to the side. We will. No, they are not the same. This is going to leave us dead in the water. So the ones I have, I think, are M4, and these look like M3, but looking at it, there's no thread in that T-nut at all. So, how do we handle this, boy?
I don't know.
I bet we could get by with stealing one from, say, from here. What do you think? I mean, that's got a screw going up through it. So,
Don't you have one of these?
have one of what?
These. Like, don't you have the screw?
I have the screw, but I need the nut from behind it.
Do you have the nut?
Right here.
But
So,
do you have the nut without stealing it?
no. So we're just going to borrow that one because the tension on this belt is a little bit more important. if you look in through this end where I am, if you look in here, you can actually watch the T-nut turn so that you know that it's grabbed. Now, I don't know if that's adequate belt tension on there or not. It doesn't really feel, I'm going to say that it doesn't feel great. That's better. All right, so now that we've got that belt tension a little bit better there, and we have our one bad T-nut, which we'll have to figure out. I don't know if I can buy those locally or not. I hate to have to buy a package of 100 just to replace one. And
you might need the 99.
Yeah, but they're not the same size as the ones that I'm already using on the AM8. So I absolutely could reach out to Gearbest, and I know that they would send me another one, but because of shipping times out of China, it would take forever to get here. So we will figure that out, and I'll try to update that in another video. I'm also going to slide this plastic over a little bit back to. So your Y tensioner is here. And all you do for that is there's a wing nut down here on the bottom, and you're going to loosen this up. You will turn this in to tension the belt out to loosen it. It came pretty well tensioned. I kind of like where it's sitting, so I don't want to mess with that. So I guess that's really it as far as initial frame adjustment. Everything is tight. We're pleased with everything. So next you'll want to
level the bed
and set your Z-axis. And I'm going to use a caliper. They include a ruler, which I'm not even sure what we did with it. We spent a little time slapping each other with it, and then decided that oh wait, no, that's right, you were hitting me with it. Now it's my turn. It comes with this little, I call it a 6-inch ruler, but it's a metric. It's a millimeter and centimeter ruler.
You hit me, so it's my turn.
No, you were hitting me, and I have it on film. But I'm going to actually use a caliper, and I'm just going to go from the top of the X-axis down to the metal part of the frame, and that comes in at 107.92. And then I'll go to this side and bring that up, just that hair, and that is level.
It's leveled already.
The bed's not leveled, the X-axis is leveled.
Oh.
So now we're going to have to shift, because the power cord is on this side and the control box is on that side. All right, so we got it flip-flopped. Got the control panel, or the control box, back over to the side where I have my electricity. I do want to point out one thing, and that is that a subscriber by the name of That 3D Print Girl reached out to me on YouTube and asked about the fact that I zip tied this cable in. If I was going to have to undo that, so that as the Z-axis goes up, that it would take that cable with it. And I gotta admit, I panicked a little bit, and I thought, oh, maybe. And I went and looked at it, but no, this whole assembly right here goes up with the Z. So having that zip tied in, there's not going to be a problem. This end, on the other hand, this end does need to have the slack in it. I guess this is the point where we plug it in and see if smoke comes out.
I will back up just in case. Wait. Nope, you plugged it.
Here we go. Oh, it was nice that the switch was already on.
I heard the beeping. I was like...
I guess I should have said, too, right before we plugged that in, would have been a good opportunity to double check to make sure that you have the 110-220 switch set where it's supposed to be. Oh, all right, you're fine. Get up here. We went over that 110-220 switch a couple of times, so I know that we had it right. It is a little loud. There's I know a lot of people complain about the loudness of the CR-10, but I suppose everything being in a metal box like this, they got to run some fan through there. All right, so it says printer ready. Let's see, how are we going to do this? This thing is ridiculously large. All right, I think that's about as best as we're going to get it. So it looks terrible otherwise, but for the purpose of seeing the screen. Okay, so you're going to need a standard thickness piece of paper. I like to use Post-it notes.
Post-it notes.
And I'm going to tear the Post-it portion of it off and stick it on Xander's head.
Well, that's nice.
So we don't want that nozzle to dig down into the bed. So all right, I'm going to press this knob. Obviously, info screen would take us right back to the screen we're on. I don't know what prepare is. Let's take a look. All right, so that's our preheat options. This menu is a little bit different than the A8 was. Position obviously is going to be moving stuff around. Control allows us to disable the steppers, put it into cool down mode, set our nozzle and bed temperature independently, control our fan speed and flow. Configuration,
temperature, motion, store memory, and load memory.
Right. Oh, and restore failsafe. So I don't know what that is. We're going to have to look into that. There's no SD card, so we can initialize it, and here it shows us the version is Anet E12 version 1.0. So I'm going to go to control. Well, I want to auto home this, but that's putting a lot of faith in those guys that they set that limit switch correctly. Which, to be honest with you, I don't see any adjustment on that limit switch. So it's all in the bed. So I guess if it runs down into the bed, let's go for it.
Oh my.
So we're going to, yep, it was under position.
Position. Auto home.
Auto home. Well, that's how the Anet is too. The home position is off the bed.
Yeah, I totally missed the bed.
You can see that the print head is here and the bed is way back. So I'm going to actually turn the power off. Those fans are a bit noisy. Take that off your head.
Hey.
All right. So I'm going to bring this bed forward, and it does not collide, or it did not collide anyway. Now we have a tremendous gap between that nozzle and the bed. So now it's going to be hard to see. Maybe if I lower this down a little bit more. I'm going to bring the nozzle to the very corner of the bed, and then I'm going to reach underneath. And I'm going to unscrew that. We still have no no contact there. How if I turned it the right way this time?
Yeah.
All right, I can kind of see it in the camera that it's almost there. And what's going to happen is as you slide that paper underneath, you want to just start to feel
like you have to actually
yeah,
put some
like
power into it.
now it's like it's almost a little too much. So, and we're talking about turning that knob no more than about 1/8 of a turn each time. That's pretty good. You can hear it if you listen. So it is dragging, but it's not binding it up. I'm not grabbing the paper. I'm just very lightly holding the paper. If it jerks it out of my hand, then it's too tight. So now what we're going to do is we're going to slide this x-axis over to this corner, not moving the y, because you're just going side to side, and you're going to put that paper under there again. And I'm assuming there's a relatively large gap there.
Yes.
All right, so let's turn the printer a little bit. Oh, remove the bed. It's okay. I'm not gonna break anything.
The camera can't see anything.
No, I can see my hand. It's just barely touching, but I want a little bit more than that. So again, only about 1/8 of a turn at a time. Feels like a little too much, so I'm going to go back just a 1/16 of a turn. That feels pretty good. Now we're going to do the same thing again by moving that bed forward.
In that corner.
Nope.
What,
in that corner, because it's already there. There's a little bit of dirty underneath there.
Huh?
I got dirty. All right, so I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see this, and that's actually a little bit out of focus.
Gotta get the focus right.
Because it's clean across on the other side, but we're going to do that same thing. I'm just going to reach up underneath. I got one hand going in from this side and one hand from the back. Why don't you take this paper? Should probably block everything up. No, take it from this side because I got to go underneath like this. Come around, take that paper, and you just slide it around. You tell me when you feel it start to bind up.
No.
Binding? All right. Oh, that's way too much. If you can't slide that paper, like if you can't push it like this, then it's too much.
Okay.
Let me see. All right, I like that.
No.
I say that, but no, there. Because you want to be able to get that paper underneath there too. All right, and then we're going to bring this guy over to this side. Now keep in mind, we are leveling this bed without the build, I don't even want to say build tack, the artificial build tack sheet on there. So when we put that on, it is going to make the bed slightly thicker, and therefore it's also going to
Got some problems.
Well, it's going to set our level off again. I mean, the bed will still be level, but the nozzle will be too close to the bed. So technically, we'll have to do this again. But really, we wanted to show you guys what this procedure looked like. I was informed by a YouTube subscriber that not enough YouTubers during their assembly go through initial steps like this. So we wanted to make sure that we covered it. So, and that's it. That's leveling the bed. I've seen people actually break out a level and put it on the bed to try to get the bed level that way. That's great in theory, but if your printer isn't level or your table's not level, then it's not right. You're not leveling it to the earth, you are leveling it to your nozzle. You want to make sure that that gapping is as close as you can possibly get it from each point. So, what do you think? You got any questions?
Nope.
You feel good about what we did? You think it's going to run?
To make bigger rockets.
Make bigger rockets. So, we're going to wrap this video up right here. I don't want it to go too long. If you feel that we missed something in here, please let me know in the comments. We will do an addendum to this video if we have to.
Addendum.
An add-on. Addendum.
Addendum.
Look at, he learned something new today.
Addendum.
We're at the point where we are ready to load some filament and print. So we are going to put that fake build tack sheet on here. But we'll see how that goes. Again, I want to use it as factory as possible in the beginning, and then there are a few things that we're going to change. There's going to be some cable management things that we're going to design and print. So, but at this point, we should be ready to push filament. All right, so that's it for us for this video. Again, you can watch the assembly video, which there will be a link in the description. Up and coming, and as soon as it's released, there'll be a description in the video. The next will be laying down your initial layers, checking your Z height, and making sure that your print is laying down properly. So if you like what we're doing, subscribe, hit that like button. If you don't like it, hit the unlike button, but leave us a comment and tell us why. And as always, print on.